What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Drive for Show, DFS for Dough here on RotoGrinders. Happy you're tuning in to listen to some more golf talk this week as, I don't know, this kind of marks the official start to the golf season for a lot of people. You got this game preceding the big football game on Sunday night. We're through all the gimmicky tournaments. We don't have any more of the pro-ams. We don't have any more of the three-course rotation tournaments. And we got a fun event this week. So I know last week tournament wasn't the most exciting as far as the three courses and 6-hour rounds. And it just kind of turns a corner this week. And we've got a pretty exciting PGA Tour schedule here for about the next 4 or 5 months. So should be a good time. Happy you're all joining us. As usual, I am Justin Van Zuiden, STL Cardinals 84. I've got Notorious, Derek Farnsworth alongside. Noto, how you doing? I know you're probably pretty excited for this week.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? I see this smile on my face. We're done with the pro-ams. We're done with the course rotations. We're here to, talk about some real golf and a party over there in Scottsdale. So it's going to be a fun week. It kind of feels like a major week. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, really different when you take a look at the pricing for the golfers, on DraftKings and FanDuel. It's a little bit easier to build those lineups this week. A lot of guys feel like they're coming in at a little bit of a discount compared to, what we're normally seeing price-wise and what we've been dealing with a lot of the weaker fields over the last month. That's gonna help too when you see the strength of the field that we have this week and this guy this feels underpriced compared to where he's been over the course of January. So makes it a little bit more exciting to build lineups. Of course, we're going to continue the trend. We're going to do another snake draft at the end of the show on DraftKings here tonight. Old habits die hard, and Dan Kramer taking down some money. I didn't look at the final standings. Did Dan hang on to the W? I'm going to pull those up right now. Did you?
I think you finished second, and I finished
that's horrible.
So, hey, I'm 2 for 2. That's the only thing I cashed last week was our $5 snake.
Ninth out of 12 for me, so not great. Dan finished second. He was in the lead for most of the week. R. Cormier 13 with the W in the snake draft last week. Be a little easier to fill the back half of that draft this week. We don't have to go quite into the depths that we did a week ago, but shout out to the winners in that and impressive performance there for the winners. And Dan actually got 6 guys through the cut. I believe he was the only one that got there's 2 people that got 6 guys through the cut, but with the cut not happening till after the 3rd round, a little bit less impact there. But impressive performance, a W for Justin Rose. Kind of a weird leaderboard there last week. My rosters were horrible, so not much to write home about there. And it doesn't sound like yours were much better. So we're all ready to turn the page to this week. But any other takeaways from Pebble Beach for you?
Not really. Maybe Aaron Rodgers sandbagging a little bit. Did you see that? His partner shoots 1 over par, doesn't even make the cut. And they win the Pro-Am because his handicap, I don't know why they gave him so many strokes, but apparently his handicap is a lot lower than what they gave him stroke-wise.
Yeah, that was blowing up the social media circles, and the people that don't like Aaron Rodgers were certainly latching on to that as a complaint here over the last few days. And I don't know, small potatoes, I guess, from our perspective, didn't impact the DFS results or anything like that, but was a Monday finish there, so that's why we moved the show back to Tuesday this week. That just delayed the fact that it didn't get done till around early afternoon on the East Coast on Monday. Delay in pricing getting released, delay in our projections getting done. And we wanted to make sure we had good up-to-date data for you. We do have projected ownership this week as well, with a little bit more time to have that refined here before the show. So lots of goodies for us to talk about. And really nothing else I care to talk about looking back at last week. So we can just move on. Anything else you want to make sure we mention?
Did you see the end to the Euro Tour event?
I did not see the end.
So Daniel Givens or something like that. Gavins. Anyway, he was up 2 going into the 18th hole, par 5, hits his tee shot in the water. Then he, has to re-tee, pipes his 3rd down the middle. The guy in front of him, who he was up by 2, 3 putts, so he bogeys. So he's got a, 3-shot lead, middle of the fairway. hitting his fourth, hits it into the water again.
Oh,
hits a bad chip to about 40 feet, sinks the 40-footer to double bogey and win by 1.
Oh, wow. That's
it was incredible.
Impressive. I can't believe I didn't come across that on Twitter. And they almost pulled a Vandeveld there on the last hole, especially once you got that extra stroke. Seems like it would have been a pretty easy choice, though maybe he didn't know to lay up and play it safe. But yeah, it's wild when the golf moments happen there on the final hole, and certainly a mental game, and probably good for his sake that he pulled it out. Wouldn't have given him pretty good odds to pull out in a playoff had it come to that. So
yeah,
I'll have to find that video after the show. All right. Other than that, let's just move on. We've got the Waste Management Phoenix Open this week, the biggest party in golf, whatever you want to call it. Raucous crowds, of course, the iconic par 3 16th hole there. Tons of video on that. And they usually set up the pin at a pretty accessible location on Saturday. A lot of times on Saturdays, you see some holes in one on that 16th hole. The crowd just goes nuts. Of course, this was a fun tournament last year where you had Scheffler and Cantlay, and then Pga was in the mix up until the end, and the whole crowd was behind the rookie who ended up finishing in a tie for third. But always a fun tournament. You got the shot tracker for all 4 rounds. We got plenty of course history to go off of. Basically, whatever you want for data points you can get this week. We're probably not going to have any weather delays. So really not a whole lot to complain about, and that's part of the reason why it's so much fun. Why don't you talk about TPC Scottsdale? And, you've been there before, so you got some firsthand knowledge here.
Yeah, been a couple times and can confirm it's as wild as it looks on TV. And don't forget, Harry Higgs and Joel Damon going topless last year on the 16th. That was pretty good. But, yeah, the course, par 71, just under 7,300 yards. Pretty generous off the tee. It does get narrow a little bit as you get closer to the green. The greens themselves really big, and they are tiered. So you're going to have to hit the right tiers if you want to get a lot of birdie looks. And shout out to Justin Ray on Twitter for this stat. So I believe since, can't remember the year, 2010, something like that, 65% of the winners' total strokes gained were through ball striking, the highest of any event on the PGA Tour during that stretch that wasn't, or any regular course anyway. So ball striking is going to be key. And yeah, the finish is awesome. You have the front 9 that's pretty tough, and then the back 9, a lot of risk reward holes. You have the par 5 with water in play on the off the tee and play on the approach. Then you have the par 3 stadium hole. Then you have the drivable par 4 17th, which is a lot of fun. And then you have the 18th, which can be a birdie hole if you had a good drive. If not, you can easily make a bogey. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be crazy out there. Probably going to be more than 600,000 people in attendance. And the Super Bowl is in Phoenix too. So it's just going to be a huge party. And you're going to get a lot of good social media content from drunk fans at the event.
And in case you missed it, the PGA Tour has also redesigned all of their web pages, including their leaderboard page, which looks absolutely disgusting. I know change is the spice of life, and everybody's going to hate change. But if you go to the leaderboard page on the PGA Tour website, I'm not sure about the app. But the actual desktop site is it's just hideous.
You can't see the shot-by-shot data anymore.
As far as I know, you can't. Unless there's a toggle that turns that on after the tournament starts. You can't see it right there on the face of the page. You have to expand the actual player, and then that individual player takes up the whole screen. It's just hideous. It's hideous. I hate it.
The only reason I don't have the app on my phone is because I like being able to see all my guys' shots on the website. Now we don't get that. This looks just like I think it's a Yahoo.
It's horrible. But that's not a great comparison because Yahoo is horrible. They're all. I don't understand.
Spending all this money to make a worse product. They had the best product ever 15 or 10 years ago.
I know. So I still have the screen grab. But anyway, it's hideous. And this happened, I was in the middle of doing my content today when they switched all this over. It happened at lunchtime today. And the first thing I did was look at the leaderboard, and it's horrendous. Literally all they did was add the odds to win on the right-hand side. Anyway, I can't spend the whole show complaining about this, but it just happened. So maybe
there goes our chance at a Yahoo sponsor. Yeah.
Maybe.
Sorry, Steve.
Maybe we'll get used to it, and it'll get better. But in any case, it should be a fun tournament. You mentioned ball striking, the name of the game here, and now we can start talking about some golfers. Little loose in the pricing this week with the field being stronger. That's kind of normal, but we've got 5 golfers above 10K, all solid top tier golfers on the PGA Tour. Rahm and Rory have both been dominating of late. You've got Scheffler, Finau, and Schauffele rounding out the 10K range. How do you rank this group?
Yeah, really tough to find a problem with any of them. Rahm, obviously, ASU grad, playing great right now. He's got 3 wins in his last 5 starts. He's finished T13 or better here each of the last 5 years, so he will be my favorite. And 11K in this field feels a lot more expensive than, when he was 10-8 in some weaker fields, just because there's so many other options. But I do like Jon Rahm quite a bit at the top. Rory coming off the win over in Dubai. I think that was a really impressive victory, especially since he said he didn't have his best stuff. He hasn't played this event as much as many of the others, but that doesn't mean he's not a good play. Scheffler, the defending champ. Finau. I think Finau is going to get overlooked just because of the course history. A lot of people like to point to that. And this is a course where you want to have some history, both because of the atmosphere and just is predictive year in and year out. But Finau did move to Scottsdale in 2020, and that's the year that he lost in the playoff to Webb Simpson. So I don't mind going to Finau in tournaments. And then Xander's just always safe. Him and Cantlay, I think you can play in cash games. You can play in tournaments. You just always rely on them for a pretty good finish, and he seems to like this course a lot as well. So I don't have a strong take. Rahm's my favorite, but do you have anybody that you dislike up here?
Not really. It's just that I think Rahm and Rory are so far ahead of the field in terms of their results of late that I think if you're spending and you're prioritizing just one of these guys, I think it has to be one of the top 2. I don't think there's enough of a discount down. I like Finau in tournaments as well, but I think if you're spending top dollar, you got to take a stand on one of the top 2. And really, you're not going wrong with Rahm or Rory. I will, whoever ends up being lower owned, I've got Rory tagged right now. You mentioned he won in Dubai. He finished 4th at the DP World Championship. He only played one PGA Tour event during the fall swing. He won that. Like, Rahm's getting all the headlines and the attention because we've seen him a little bit more. But I mean, that, and Rory obviously doesn't have the course history here, but I just don't think I care. I mean, he's clearly right there with Rahm as the 1A and 1B in golf right now. And, I'll take Rory, but I think I'm definitely leaning towards, if you're spending up, spend up for one of the top 2. Nobody that I really dislike in here. I'll probably be a little underweight on Scheffler, but that's not because I don't like him. Just can't play everyone, and I don't think you're getting enough of a discount there. So Rory 1, Rahm 2, Finau 3 probably for me.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Is Scheffler just nobody going to play Scheffler?
I don't know. I always seem to not play Scheffler as much as the field, and I'm not really sure why. Like, I don't have a vendetta against Scheffler or anything. It's not that I don't like him. I just don't ever seem to play him, and I can't really quantify why. Maybe there's some back of the brain bias here. I don't know.
I think the last time I played him was at this event last year, and then I was like, okay, he can't win again.
Okay.
And then, that week, and then I faded him for his next 3 wins in the next 5 weeks. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's interesting. The defending champ narrative always lowers some ownership. So if you are looking for lower owned guys, I don't mind Scheffler and Finau. And what are your thoughts of 2 10K guys? Have you tried doing that yet?
Yeah, so I mean, it's another week where the bottom of the 7K range works out pretty good. But if you wanted to play, say, Rory and Finau together, you're at 72.75 per golfer. So basically, you're going to probably play, if you want Rory and Finau, you're playing like 4 guys between 7K and 7,500 to round out your lineup, which is definitely doable. I haven't really decided whether I think it's optimal, but it's doable. But you're not getting like any of the 9K range in that lineup. So I don't know. Definitely, if you're building 50, 60 lineups, I certainly think you try it on some.
Yeah, we'll get to it in a minute, but man, the 8K range is really ugly. Like, I love the 9Ks. 10Ks are obviously strong. And then the 8Ks, I can't find anybody in there.
Yeah, so I mean, if you don't mind fading the 9K range, then I do think that lineup approach makes some sense. So because I do kind of agree with you, there's not a whole lot in the 8K range. It'd just be being underweight on the 9Ks that is a little nerve-wracking, but certainly doable if you are mass entering a bunch of lineups. If I'm going optimal, to be honest, it's probably one of the top guys, and then Thomas or Morikawa or Cantlay. Like I think that gives you maybe a little bit more flexibility in that 7K range, as opposed to going double stud. I think I go say Rory and Morikawa or something like that to start like a single entry type of build.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I started mine with Rahm and Cantlay. So yeah, right there.
Yeah, same
right there
deal.
with you on that type of build. 9K is really strong. You can definitely see the winner coming from this range. I think all of my outright bets came from this 9K range. So JT, like you mentioned, great course history. His form has been a little bit off since he won the PGA Championship. He's only had 2 top 10s since then. I think that was in May or June. So it's been a while since he's really popped, but really good course history. Obviously got 5 straight top 17 finishes here. You mentioned Morikawa. I never play Morikawa, but I really like him this week. You talk about ball striking. He's gained 7.1 strokes putting his last 2 events. If that continues, he's going to be winning a lot of events. Not that it will continue, but if it does, got to think he's going to have a big year. Cantlay's just extremely safe, does everything well. Obviously, the crowds didn't affect him in his first appearance here because it was last year in his debut. He lost in the playoff to Scheffler. So those 3 are going to be my favorites, but you could always talk me into Hideki at this course. Sung Jae is obviously really safe. Tom Kim's a good player. First timers do worry me a little bit, but Tom Kim seems to
his personality is a nice fit for the And Theegala did it last year,
and he's not 21 yet, so he can't drink and go out and
we can't drink legally.
He says he's never been to a party, which
I get vague definition, I guess, define party, but I guess I believe it. Well, heck, he'll he lets his game do the talking. So
he looks like he would party. I don't know. Looks like a good time.
Up for debate. Maybe he's just trying to keep us all guessing.
All right. Anybody else you like in this range?
I mean, I like if I'm picking the golfer that I'm going to be most overweight on this week compared to what we currently have for ownership, it is Justin Thomas. I mean, we got him at like 9%, and he's the 7th most expensive golfer. And I know, relatively speaking, his form hasn't been quite what we're accustomed to from him, but I mean, this is still a guy that's capable of being a top 5 golfer on the PGA Tour. He's the last, 4 trips here have all been top 20s. He likes the course, and if it's going to cater to ball striking, I just think, I mean, you're giving me Thomas at 9%. It's not that I like him in a vacuum better than everybody else, but that's a guy that I want to be overweight on. And I'm with you. I like Morikawa a lot. I think the range overall is very strong, but the guy I'm going to take a stand on this week, I think, is Thomas. And if he's under 10% owned, I'll be pretty happy on Thursday morning with that.
Yeah, I like that. The guy nobody's going to play is Matt Fitzpatrick. Obviously had the neck injury last week.
And what did you do with him last week? So did you only do one roster last week, or did you
I only did one. I'm gonna finally, make a bunch this week. I just couldn't do the Pro-Am thing.
So was Fitzpatrick in your original lineup last week?
He was pivoted to Spieth, which that didn't really help me whatsoever.
I can't stand Jordan Spieth, by the way. Played him last week. See, nothing.
So a funny story about Spieth. I ran my model. I ran my model sorted, by the rankings of the model, started doing all my notes. He was 40th overall in the model. I didn't even know he was in the field until 2 hours into my research because he was so far down in the ratings. But yeah, so Fitzpatrick, he's going to be low owned. I don't think, obviously going to go there in single entry or anything, but he's a guy that could easily win this. And
I mean, didn't he shoot in his third round? Didn't he shoot 7 over? At Pebble?
Yeah, he went double bogey, but it was during the windy day, and I don't know. He came back out the next day and finished,
which really is surprising. I mean, he admitted that his neck was bothering him, but I mean, if if you hooked all these guys up to a lie detector test, half of them probably got something that's aching or hurting, and it just never comes out. So the death by information, whatever. But hey, if you got off of them last week because of it, it ended up working out. I agree. I don't think I'm probably going there this week, but certainly a guy that if you've got some marbles in tournaments, you want to throw him out there. There's some logic behind it. But otherwise, yeah, probably Justin Thomas for me in this range that I'll be most overweight on. All right. You mentioned the 8K range, not super great. And I agree with that. Like Spieth is struggling. Hatton, we haven't seen as much from lately. Lowry, Fleetwood, these guys haven't been playing in the States. The guys that are going to get some buzz, Pga after playing here last year, and I do like him this week. Montgomery, obviously, with his ability to get hot with the putter, and Cam Young, I think right now we have at the highest ownership in the field, which was a bit of a surprise to me. But, I know you're not super high on this range, so what are you thinking?
Yeah, Cam Young's my favorite by a mile, but what was he doing in Saudi last week? I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's a bit strange.
Yeah, but I played well, finished second. So, he's getting closer to that first win. He did play this event last year, finished T26. So I do like to see, at least 1 year of course experience. So he's going to be my favorite. But, yeah, Burns has been pretty bad. He did have a T11 his last time out, but otherwise has been struggling. You mentioned Spieth. Theegala, I always like Theegala. Yeah, he's an easy guy to root for, but he always just seems $500-$600 too expensive, especially in this field. So I'll probably be underweight on him. And then the bottom of the range doesn't have anybody I like. I want to play Fowler, but 8K for Fowler.
Man, 8K for Fowler. It's a no for me, man.
Yeah, it feels wrong. So
if you're going to talk about Theegala being too expensive and then make a case for Fowler, I gotta back that up.
I'll build a lineup with both of them, I guess. Just all the overpriced guys that are easy to root for.
I am out on Fowler. I'm in on Theegala. I think Montgomery's fine. Though I'll keep an eye on that ownership. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes higher. I like the way Cam Young fits the course, but if the ownership stays in the 20s, I'm probably out there as well. Kind of in general, we've got some differences on the players we like in here, but in reality, we don't like a whole lot in here. And I think that's going to lead to that build where most of my player pool is going to be a lot of guys from the 7Ks and then, sprinkling in those guys from the 9Ks and the 10Ks. And it sounds like you're kind of in agreement with that approach.
Does RG model still like Fleetwood? I saw he was rating as one of the best point per dollar options.
Not really. He's
okay.
I don't know. He's maybe halfway down the list now. Yeah, he's not up there by any means.
Okay. So he's another guy I like to root for, but he's never played here before. And I was looking at some head-to-heads today. He's underdog against some guys in the 7K range in the head-to-head markets.
Interesting. The betting markets don't endorse Fleetwood this week then. All right, so we can talk about some of the higher-end 7K guys here, and then we can get our snake draft set up on DraftKings. We'll try to do the 12-man again this week. It certainly won't be any more painful than last week's was with trying to get through 84 golfers with that field. So go ahead and fire it off. I'll kind of start poking around here and talk about the higher end of the 7K range here.
All right, it's ball striker week, so we're playing Corey Connors and we're playing Keegan Bradley. Both of them had pretty good course history. Both of them coming in pretty good form. Keegan finished second at the Farmers, and Connors 3 straight top 20s. So I like those two quite a bit. Don't mind going back to Jason Day. I've been talking him up quite a bit here in the early going this year. Just seems like everything's kind of falling into place for him. I wish he had a little more course history, but a guy I don't mind looking to in tournaments. And then Alex Noren's right now really well for me. Doesn't look like a lot of people are going to be on him. He's been playing some good golf. So he's got 3 straight top 5s. I believe 2 of them were in the fall, and then played one event over in Europe and finished 5th. And he did finish top 10 here last year. So Noren is a guy that I like at low ownership. And do you like Tom Hoge? So this is his 5th event in a row. That does worry me a little bit. But if you can go anywhere with low energy and get the adrenaline going, it's got to be this place. So,
Yeah,
I think I'm in on Hoge.
Yeah, I don't mind him. I don't really have a strong take, but this is, I mean, significantly cheaper than we've seen him in recent memory.
Yeah, wasn't he 10K last week?
Yeah, I mean, it's again relative to field strength, but it does surprise me to see him all the way down to 7,500. So I like him. I'm totally with you on Connors. He's probably my favorite in this range. Keegan, Aaron Wise, like all these guys, I think you could interchange a lot of them with the 8K range, and it wouldn't shock a lot of people. So, yeah, I think sprinkling in, and we'll get to the bottom part of the range as well while we're waiting for the snake draft to fill. But yeah, it's a really strong range to look at. So, all right, let's get this set up. It'll take a little bit to fill, and then once it fills, I'll take over the screen share from our producer Steve. But right now, I just have an empty lobby or a lobby staring at me, so I won't do it just yet. But you know the drill. If you've watched us over the last few weeks, we started doing a snake draft on Draftkings during the golf show here. It's provided some nice entertainment towards the end of the show, allows us to sprinkle in some more analysis. And we usually do a $5 and we went up to 12 people last week. So if you go to DraftKings, filter the golf snake drafts by for this week, and then find the $5 12-man, which at least as of the time I am chatting says that there's nobody in it. And I am going to enter it. Oh, man, I'm going to enter it with crowns. That means I'm guaranteed to win. Had just enough crowns left to enter this for $5. And so now it's 3 of 12. Again, the $5 12-man snake draft. And
all right. So question in the chat. Where do you go for snake drafts? So all you got to do is just in the lobby, you just click on golf, and then you click snake up in the game style, and you'll see it's 6 of 12. So you better hurry if you want to get in there.
Yeah, word's getting around here that it's the hottest game in town.
Dan Kramer's joined, I think. Real golf, he says.
Let's see. All right. So where are we at? Yeah, we're up to 7. So real quick, I'll keep an eye on this, but you want to round out the 7K range? Anybody else you like down here? I know you got to talk about Harmon. So.
Oh, yeah. I've got to talk about Harmon. Harmon week. He was, I think, second in the point per dollar model for RotoGrinders, first in my point per dollar model. And just playing well. Did miss the cut his last time out, but it was one of those Pro-Am events, so I'm not too worried about that. He's got a good course history. Good, solid game. I like Brendan Still. His ball striking the last 4 events, +5, +8, +4, +6. So really good ball striking numbers there. And he's got a pretty good course history here. I think a lot of people are going to go to Keith Mitchell. Hard not to like him. Top 10 here last year, coming off the big finish last week. And then I'm going to go to Woodland at 7,300. Doesn't project all that well, but a guy that when he's on, he can have top 10 upside. Most of these guys down here, you're kind of hoping for a made cut, maybe a top 30, something like that. Woodland's going to give you a top 10, or he's going to miss the cut by a few strokes. So I think he's one of the more interesting tournament plays.
Yeah, we just haven't seen that top 10 upside from him quite as much in recent memory. So you're getting a discount though.
3 events ago. Come on now.
At 2% ownership too. I wouldn't have banked on being 3 events ago that he had the top 10.
And you always get the cool social media stuff with him and that girl that he brought down on the course a few years ago. I saw a picture of them today, which is kind of cool. She's 4 years older than she was back then, so kind of cool.
Well, the good news is you can also follow him on the horrendous PGA Tour leaderboard when the tournament starts. All right, we're at 9 of 12 on our snake draft. Need 3 more of you to hop in.
All right,
get rolling there.
The link.
Yeah, I'll retweet you so we can get that out too. I know we had a couple people that joined based on the Twitter buzz last week. It's $5 or $5 worth of crowns if you're me, and you can parlay that into like $30 or $28 if you win. So, all right, let's see my thoughts on the lower end of the 7K range. With you on Harmon, I mean, grades out super well in our projections. I think Jamino mentioned before the show that him top 20 is our model showing the best bet of the week. So hard not to like Harmon at that sub $7,500 salary tag on DraftKings. Pretty much in agreement on the plays down here. I mean, Todd, I think, is fine as well to round it out. Always like just going for guys that are maybe safe for a made cut for that sixth golfer. Kirk, Poston, all guys that, once again, they feel like they could be priced with the guys around 8K, and you wouldn't bat an eye at it. So, all right, our draft has filled. Our draft is, we got the RotoGrinders crew in here this week. So we got, even though Devin's not producing, he's still working hard. So Devin's picking fourth. I'm picking fifth. We got DB 730 in the draft this week. He's picking sixth. Noto's picking 10th. So it's good. I don't like picking on the ends.
10th isn't that bad this week. It would have been bad last week.
Yeah, 10th. Well, I don't know, because I picked first and got Spieth last week, and we see how that went. All right, I will take over the screen share here as soon as I get my bearings straight. I have developed too many tabs over the course of the show. So we'll close out some of those.
Jaws, you got 13 seconds to get ready.
Well, let's
Jeff
try
Wilson,
it again.
What's up? Excited for the week.
There it goes. All right. I think my screen share should show up here shortly. Reminder for those of you drafting or watching, following along, if you like the new addition to the show, make sure you leave us a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the RotoGrinders YouTube channel. Appreciate that very much for those of you that do that. All right. Producer Devin is picking now, and then that'll be me, and then it'll be DB. So see if Team RG can come through this week.
All right, who's the guy that dips way lower than their original ranking? I'll ask you after your pick. There you go.
I mean, it's got to be Fitzpatrick.
Spieth and Fitzpatrick, yeah.
No, Spieth's already down at 17. I mean, it's not like he's at the top. I go with Fitzpatrick, unless we get somebody on auto draft.
I'll take Spieth 5 rounds before, or Fitz 5 rounds before Spieth at this point.
Oh man, you're turning into me. We've been working together too long. I'm rubbing off on Noto here with the Spieth hate.
Jeff, the draft is not open. Sorry, bud. And we got it to fill.
Yeah, 12 is. 12 is the max size.
Okay, so everybody that's listening, get out your notepad, write down Dan Kramer's picks, and put that into a lineup.
Yeah, you'd be able to make a lineup out of the guys we draft for sure, because we have to go to the depths of the draft pool here.
Not that we draft, the Dan drafts.
Yeah, you can make a lineup out of the guys that Dan drafts. Sorry. Steve Woods 47. We got a new participant. Don't recognize that name. A lot of familiar faces otherwise. In fact, I think he's one of the only ones that I don't recognize from a prior week. Maybe Jaws at the tail end. But welcome to those of you participating for the first time. And tough to pick close to those ends. I haven't had a pick in the middle yet. So this week it was interesting with a pick in the middle.
Hovland and Cam Young at the turn. That's not bad. All right.
Yeah, see, now this is where you get into that 8K range for DFS pricing purposes, where it's...
Jeez, do I go Fowler?
It's not... See, it's pretty ugly here. I
have to go Fitz. What am I doing here?
Well, then you just did that just to spite my pick that he was going to drop.
All right, curious to see who Dan Kramer drafts here.
Got 4 people in front of me yet, so...
I should have just dipped down to Connors.
Well, I can assure you that, let's see. Okay, we got Sam Burns. So far, who does Dan have so far? Holman, Burns, 2 guys I was not planning to play. So already going to be a horrible week for DFS. We know this.
Okay, there goes Keegs. That's a good pick. Skip over all these other guys.
All the gobbledygook in the 16, 17, 18 range.
Yeah, how low does Spieth go? That's the question.
I am not taking him this week. I will put that out there. I don't care if he's available with my last pick. I will not take him out of spite after last week's performance when I finally boarded the Spieth train. for the first time in like a year. All right, so Dan took Connors, no surprise, because that's who I was going to take.
Yeah, good pick.
It is. I mean, there's just not a lot. There's not a lot separating these guys here. All right, my turn. I got to take somebody.
Dude, save Harmon for me, huh?
He's gone.
What? Did you take him?
I just took him.
No.
Yeah. I took him before you said that, like 5 seconds before you said that.
Oh.
He probably wasn't going to make it back to you anyways because he was ranked like 26. Yeah, no, it would have been close.
Speed putting took years off Joshua's life. Yeah, we feel you.
I mean, the good news is that my lineups were largely dead anyway, so I guess it didn't matter too much. But
so I got 5 of 6 through the cut, and I had Justin Suh, who withdrew after like 4 holes. So that was.
I also had him in my DFS player pool last week. It was just a glorious week, but that's okay. We're going to save the best for this week. All right, so yeah, a lot of guys in this kind of range are all fairly similar, and so you're kind of just getting into a preference at this point. But your call on Spieth being the guy to drop the most has been prescient because he's already there and then some.
Surprised Taylor Montgomery. He's usually a favorite.
Yeah. Montgomery's going to me at 29 if Devin doesn't take him at 28, so that would be Devin's choice. It wouldn't upset me too much. If Devin wants to take him, that's fine. But if not, I'll take him. I just feel like it's the right spot. What if who's going to take Spieth? Who's going to take Spieth? I will take Montgomery at 29. I think
that's a good pick there, Devin.
All right, so DB took the bait with Spieth.
Oh, sucker.
At 30th, and Spieth's going to win now, and it's just going to be a real, we're going to have a real problem with Spieth when that happens.
We didn't talk about JT Poston. I do like him a lot this week.
Yeah, we're kind of getting down to the guys that are in that lower 7K range for DFS. So like Pendrith is in there, Poston, Kirk. I guess we did talk about, you talked about Woodland.
So Poston goes. I shouldn't have said that. All right, Hoagie's still there. I can get behind Hoagie. All right, who did Dan take? Pendrith.
Pendrith.
All right, so far 0 for 3 in my
better rework that. All right, see this. We're getting to the stage where I got to do some advanced prep for who's coming down the pipeline here because it's gonna get a little hairy.
Man, I wanted to play Horschel this week, but he's going through swing changes and it looks so bad at the Sony. I don't know what to do.
I think that's a pass as well for the moment.
Okay,
he's the highest ranked guy left.
So much more consistent now than he used to be. So I don't mind Siwoo in tournaments, even though he doesn't have good course history. All right.
You're up again.
Was McNeely really hurt last week, or did he just want to not?
I think he was one of the many that just said, this round's taking 6 hours. I'm not near the top. See you later. I think he's fine.
All right. I went Woodland. Yeah, Dan, I know. I need to get on your page. So I'll try to get there by the end of the week.
All right. So yeah, I'm coming up here in about 4 picks, and this is another spot. So this is where you kind of start to get into the 6K range of DFS plays, which is where every week there's nobody worth looking at below 7K.
Interesting. I was listening to the broadcast last week, and they were talking about Brendan Todd gained a lot of speed with his driver in the offseason. So he's hitting a lot farther than he used to, and he's still hitting a lot of fairways. So something to keep in mind.
Well, it's good to know because I put him in my article and I just picked him. So
not that all these guys are trying to gain speed, but I guess he gained 7 to 8 miles per hour or something.
Well, gaining distance and stuff, we saw that work for Matt Fitzpatrick last year. So All right, so we're at the end of round 4 here, moving into round 5 with 3 picks left for everybody.
Webb Simpson, what happened to him? He missed the cut last week, right?
Yeah, and he's got 2 runner-up or win. He's got 2 top 2 finishes here over the last 8 years, but obviously was generally a lot better then than he has been lately.
I like that Spawn pick at a ball striker course. All right, are any of these guys left going to make your player pool?
McCarthy, Kuchar, Clark, those are the guys that have dipped. I mean, the guys that would kind of be on my short list would be Grillo, Lipsky, Stallings, and that's probably about it. But it's not. I mean, I don't feel great about any of them. I'm gonna take Stallings right now. But yeah, I don't know. Just kind of meh.
I didn't even notice Yeager was in the field. He's usually one of our favorites in the chat.
There he is, down to 84. He'd be a final round pick.
Bo Hostler played well last week. I still don't. So every once in a while, he'll just pop up in the top 10, and it's kind of hard to pick when it's going to happen.
And we've talked about him before. He's the random guy that just always seems to be like 13% owned in some tournaments for no apparent reason. He was pretty popular again a few weeks ago, and
Wiley said he was like 30% in the Thunderdome last week. And right when it locked, he was calling everybody else donkeys, and then he ended up having a big week.
Strange. I don't know. I guess it's just I'm not a Hostler guy, but sometimes it works. Kuchar's been the other guy to fall below, so they rank 43, and we're at 57, and Kuchar's still out there. Wasn't he just the chalk a couple weeks ago at like 9,000, 8,000 something?
He was, and I thought he was a good play last week, but that was wrong.
Pick him. Pick Kuchar. Your turn.
I'm going to go a little bit down. I like
You're
Johnny
not going with Kuchar.
Johnny Vegas. 6,700 this week. Good driver of the ball.
I wonder if I still have the screenshot. I don't think I have it anymore. But I always like to talk about Russell Knox got a 9 on oh no, that wasn't here. That was the players.
That was the players.
That was the players. All right, got my players and Phoenix Open mixed up. All right, we got to save that for a few weeks.
I'll never forget. He was like, got his way into the top 10, and then
he went from like 10th to 60th in one hole.
Oh, not good. Man, Harris English, I miss him being good.
He's shown flashes at times, a little glimpse here and there. We got 2 picks left. So, yeah, it gets a little deeper than I expected. I guess after last week, I figured it'd be a little easier, but
ooh, Martin Laird. Party Marty in Scottsdale, that's a good pick. All right, I got to figure out what I'm doing. Team No Putt, Luke List.
I mean, I don't like him this week, but I am really surprised that Kuchar's still on the board.
Luke
I
List,
mean, he's not any worse than
yeah, Kuchar's the play. I don't know why I picked Luke List, but yeah, he's 4 or 5 in the last 5 years here.
I mean, I know it's Matt Kuchar these days, and it's not exciting, but like Yeager going before Kuchar. There goes Kuchar. Somebody just got tired of hearing me talk about it. All right, there goes Hostler. DB is building, that was DB. He's building the ultimate troll lineup. I know that he's doing that on purpose. But let's see.
Oh, there goes Yeager. Glad somebody took him. Got to support our guy.
DB's got Spieth and Hostler. The old troll lineup, full force there.
Any extreme punts you like this week?
No, they're terrible. And you just don't need it. I mean,
I like Mark Hubbard, 6,300.
I mean, I almost always default to Svensson, but I can't really endorse it. Hey, he just got drafted literally as I was looking at his name. There he went. So I almost always default to him, but I just kind of like him, and I don't know why. It's not a ringing endorsement by any means. All right, we're in the final round here. So again, you get 7 drafted players, and then it automatically dumps your lowest score of the 7, and 6 of them count. So Justin Suh was the auto drop last week for anybody who had him in the snake draft.
Patrick Rogers, he was playing good though recently.
Yeah. Let's see. Molinari, English. I don't like any of these guys. Lee Hodges just went. Let's see. Do I go with Patrick Rogers here? I don't mind it. Sure, why not?
1 for 5.
No, can I unclick the button? Maybe I didn't click it.
Gotcha. I baited you into that one.
I probably would have taken Lipsky otherwise, so we'll see if that.
Man, bad Sunday for Lipsky. Or no, sorry, that was.
It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know what he did on Sunday because it was a close the laptop week after Saturday for me. So I followed the leaders, but he wasn't there. So we've got about 5 picks left here. There goes Lipsky off the board. I think that's a decent pick at that stage. So let's see. I think our teams are all set. Oh, Noto's got one more pick. And so let's see. Dan is making his last pick now. So if you want your punt value, it's going to be whoever Dan takes with his final pick here as I search up the PGA Tour schedule. So we got the Genesis next week, and then we start the Florida swing with the Honda Classic. So that'll be the old 6 a.m. wake-up call to make sure your guys haven't withdrawn. I haven't had one of those in a while, but that'll be starting up in a couple of weeks.
Oh, somebody took Hubbard? All right, I'll just take the top guy.
Where did Hubbard go? I didn't see him go. Let's see. I got to try to find it in this list now.
Round 6.
Where? I still don't see him. Still don't see him.
70th overall.
All right, so our lineups are complete for the week. Noto, Im, Fitzpatrick, Hoagie, Woodland, Vegas, List, and Molinari. Molinari, where'd that come from?
He was a top-ranked guy.
Oh, okay. Top-ranked guy left. Thomas, Harmon, Montgomery, Todd, Stallings, Grillo, Rogers for me. Let's see. DB with the troll lineup, Morikawa, Connor, Spieth, Kirk, Moore, Hostler, and Brandon Wu. Producer Devin has Scheffler, Day, Steele, Simpson, Zudenhout, Neesmith, and Hodges. And if you want all the winning picks, Dan Kramer, Homa, Burns, Pendrith, Henley, Clark, Riley, and Van Royen. It's probably a bad week for me again if Dan's cashing at the top of our snake draft, but part of what makes it so fun. So, yeah, that pretty much does kind of talk about the punts as we went through the last few rounds of that draft there. But anybody else that you want to make sure we give a head nod to here?
No, we're always around, though, if you guys have any questions. The Discord, a lot of fun, too. Hop in there and hit the thumbs up button.
That's right. Absolutely. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Appreciate it. For those of you watching us on playback after the fact, if you want to join in the snake draft next week, catch us live. Usually most weeks on Monday evenings, but Tuesday evening this week, given that last week's tournament kind of ran overboard there. We'll enjoy following the tournament on the new, horribly redesigned PGA Tour leaderboard. Got my required 3 mentions of that in during the show, and we'll be back next week to talk the Genesis with you, which is an event that generally plays as one of the harder tournaments in terms of scoring. So a little bit of a change there next week. But enjoy the Waste Management Phoenix Open, everybody. Super fun tournament leading up to the big game on Sunday night. And we hope you enjoyed our show as always. So for Noto and our producer Steve working hard behind the scenes for us tonight, we appreciate his help. And we thank you all for watching. Have a great week, everyone. I am Justin. We'll catch you all later. Take care.